The most dangerous financial position in the world is not being broke. It is being comfortable. There's a man sitting in a quiet apartment right now, earning just enough to pay his rent and keep the lights on. He eats the same meals. He drives the same car to the same building. He deposits the same paycheck into the same account on the same Friday every 2 weeks. Nothing is on fire. Nothing is collapsing. And that is precisely why he is in the most lethal position a human being can occupy. He is decaying so slowly that he cannot feel it happen. Warren Buffett once said, "The chains of habit are too light to be felt until they are too heavy to be broken." That sentence is not poetry. It is a clinical diagnosis of how the majority of working adults will spend the best decades of their biological lives generating wealth for someone else, while their own financial trajectory flatlines into mathematical irrelevance. You feel it late at night when the house is quiet. You open your banking app not because you expect to see anything new, but because some part of your subconscious is searching for evidence that the system is working. It is not working. The number on the screen has barely moved in 3 years. You earn money and it evaporates. You are not building anything. You are running on a treadmill bolted to the floor of someone else's factory. And the terrifying part is not the lack of progress. The terrifying part is the slow realization that if you continue on this exact trajectory for 20 more years, you will arrive at the same coordinates you occupy tonight. The math does not lie. Compound nothing over 2 decades, and you get nothing. You look at people around you, and everyone appears to be fine. Your coworkers go to lunch. Your neighbors buy new furniture. Social media feeds you a constant stream of people who seem to be winning a game you were never taught how to play. But here is the brutal truth that nobody in your life has the courage to say to your face. Most of the people around you are not fine. They are performing stability while financing chaos. They are one emergency room visit or one job termination away from total collapse. The entire middle class is held together with credit lines and quiet desperation. You are not behind because you are lazy. You are not behind because you lack intelligence. You are behind because you were loaded with an operating system at birth that was engineered for obedience, not for wealth creation. You were taught to study hard, get good grades, find a stable job, and be grateful for whatever salary you are offered. You were taught that loyalty to an employer would be rewarded. You were taught that patience is a financial strategy. None of this is true. Patience without a vehicle is not a strategy. It is a slow death. Loyalty to a system that replaces you the moment your salary becomes inconvenient is not virtue. It is a miscalculation. And stability that produces zero compounding is not safety. It is the most expensive illusion you will ever purchase. Today I'm going to dismantle that operating system piece by piece. I'm going to show you the exact architecture of how a person with $0 and zero connections can engineer a financial restart from the ground up using nothing but the raw materials already sitting inside their own life. This is not motivation. This is not inspiration. This is a structural blueprint. And the first thing we must do before we build anything is walk into the basement of your mind and rip out the wiring that has been quietly keeping you trapped since the day you were born. Every belief you hold about money was installed in your mind before you were old enough to question it. You did not choose your financial operating system. It was inherited, handed down through generations of working-class families who survived but never escaped. Your parents taught you what their parents taught them. Work hard. Spend less than you earn. Save what is left. Retire at 65 and hope the body holds together long enough to enjoy whatever remains. This sounds reasonable. It sounds responsible. And that is exactly why it is so dangerous. Warren Buffett has said repeatedly that the most important investment you can make is in yourself. But the inherited operating system does not teach self-investment. It teaches self-rental. It teaches you to walk into a building owned by someone else, sit in a chair purchased by someone else, and sell the deepest years of your cognitive prime for a number that someone else decided you were worth. You did not negotiate that number. You accepted it. You accepted it because the operating system told you that receiving a steady paycheck is the definition of financial success. It is not. A paycheck is a transaction. And in most cases, it is a transaction where you are dramatically underpriced. The industrial economy needed a specific type of human being. It needed someone who would show up on time, follow instructions without resistance, and never ask how much profit their labor actually generated for the people at the top of the structure. The entire education system was architected to produce this person. You were graded on compliance. You were rewarded for memorization. You were punished for questioning authority. You are never once taught how money actually compounds. You are never shown how a balance sheet works. You are never told that the single most important financial skill a human being can possess is the ability to generate income independent of an employer. This was not an accident. This was engineering. The system does not produce financially literate citizens because financially literate citizens do not make obedient employees. They make competitors. So you graduated with a resume full of credentials and a mind completely empty of financial architecture. You entered the labor market pre-programmed to trade time for money at whatever rate the market offered and to feel grateful for the exchange. And here is where the real damage compounds. The operating system does not just control how you earn. It controls how you think about risk. It tells you that starting something of your own is reckless. It tells you that investing is gambling. It tells you that debt is normal and unavoidable. It tells you that wealthy people are either lucky or corrupt. Every one of these beliefs is a wall, and every wall keeps you inside the same small room where your financial coordinates never change. But understanding that the operating system is flawed is not the same as replacing it. Diagnosis without surgery changes nothing. So tonight before you sleep, I need you to perform the first audit of your financial life. Take a blank page and write down every belief you carry about money. Write down where each belief came from. Your mother, your father, a teacher, a television commercial, a coworker who told you investing was a scam. Look at that list and ask yourself one cold question. How many of these beliefs were installed by someone who actually achieved the financial freedom I am pursuing? If the answer is none, then you are navigating the most important journey of your life, using a map drawn by people who never reached the destination. It is time to burn that map. And it is time to understand the single most critical defensive structure you must build before you ever attempt to generate a single dollar of new wealth. Most people who attempt a financial restart make the same fatal error. They immediately search for a way to generate more income. They look for a side hustle. They scan the internet for investment opportunities. They chase the offensive play before they have built any defensive infrastructure. Warren Buffett has spent 6 decades repeating 2 rules. Rule number 1, never lose money. Rule number 2, never forget rule number 1. This is not a clever quote for a wall poster. It is the foundational law of every financial empire ever constructed. Defense comes before offense. Always. You cannot fill a bucket that is full of holes, and right now your financial life is riddled with holes, so small you have stopped noticing them. I call this the Fortress Doctrine. Before you earn a single new dollar, you must build 3 walls around your existing life. The first wall is the financial margin. Most people operate at absolute zero margin. Every dollar that enters their account is pre-committed to an expense before it even arrives. Rent, car payment, subscriptions, food delivery, insurance, phone bill. By the time the paycheck clears, the account is already empty. This means you are living one single disruption away from total collapse. 1 medical bill, 1 car repair, 1 unexpected job loss, and the entire structure falls. You must immediately create a gap between what you earn and what you spend. Not by earning more. Not yet. By cutting with surgical precision. Go through every single recurring charge on your bank statement tonight. Every subscription. Every membership. Every automatic payment. Ask yourself one question about each one. If I were rebuilding my life from a prison cell with nothing, would I purchase this on my first day of freedom? If the answer is no, it is gone. The second wall is the psychological margin. This is the one nobody talks about. Financial stress does not just drain your bank account. It drains your cognitive bandwidth. When you are worried about money, your brain loses the capacity for creative problem solving. Studies in behavioral economics have demonstrated that financial scarcity alone can reduce effective cognitive function by the equivalent of 13 IQ points. You are literally becoming less intelligent under the weight of financial chaos. To build psychological margin, you must eliminate financial uncertainty. You must know your exact numbers. You must have a written plan, even if that plan is ugly and painful. Uncertainty is the silent killer. A brutal plan you can see is infinitely less destructive than a vague terror you cannot name. The third wall is the skill margin. This is your economic moat. Right now, if your employer fires you tomorrow, how long before you can replace that income? If the answer is months, you have no moat. You are standing on a single pillar in the middle of an ocean and the waves are getting higher every year. A skill margin means you possess at least one capability that the market values independent of any single employer. We will build this in the next phase. But understand the architecture first. Financial margin keeps you alive. Psychological margin keeps you sharp. Skill margin keeps you irreplaceable. When all three walls are standing, you have built a fortress. And only from inside a fortress can you safely launch an offensive campaign. People around you will not understand what you are doing. They will call you paranoid for cutting expenses that seem small. They will call you rigid for refusing to spend on things everyone else considers normal. They will tell you that you are overthinking it. Let them talk. These are the same people who will be calling you lucky 3 years from now, when your fortress is standing and their houses of cards have quietly collapsed. Now that the walls are built, it is time to identify the single most valuable asset hiding inside your daily life and learn how to compound it into something the market cannot ignore. Warren Buffett has said that the most important asset you own is yourself, and that anything you do to improve your own talents and make yourself more valuable will pay off in terms of appropriate return. He did not say invest in stocks. He did not say buy real estate. He said invest in yourself. And he said it because he understands the law of economics that the majority of working adults have never been taught. The market does not pay you for your effort. It does not pay you for your suffering. It does not care how early you wake up or how exhausted you are when you fall asleep. The market pays you for one thing only: how difficult you are to replace. If you can be swapped out for another human being in 72 hours, your compensation will always be pushed toward the floor. It does not matter how hard you work. You are a commodity. And commodities are always priced at the cheapest available rate. To escape this gravity, you must stop selling hours and start selling expertise. You must build what I call cognitive compound interest. Every evening when you come home from work, you are given a window. Roughly 4 hours between the end of your shift and the time your body demands sleep. Right now, those 4 hours are being consumed. Social media, television, group chats about nothing, complaining about the economy with people who have no intention of doing anything about it. This consumption is not free. It is extraordinarily expensive. You are spending your only remaining capital on products designed to keep you distracted and docile. Those 4 hours are not leisure. They are the seed capital for every future dollar you will ever earn outside of a paycheck. Starting tonight, you must treat those hours like a vault. Lock the door. Silence the phone. Eliminate every source of cheap dopamine from the room. Then sit down and begin building a skill that the market cannot easily find on the street. Not a general skill. Not a vague competency. A narrow, deep, specialized capability that solves an expensive problem. Learn to write code that automates business operations. Learn to analyze data sets and extract patterns that save companies millions. Learn advanced digital marketing that drives measurable revenue. Learn a specialized trade that requires diagnostic thinking, not just physical labor. The Internet has placed the greatest library in human history at your fingertips for free. MIT publishes entire course catalogs online. Software engineers share advanced tutorials without charge. The information is not hidden behind a gate. It is sitting in the open waiting for someone with enough discipline to consume it systematically instead of randomly. This is where cognitive compound interest begins. On day 1, you know nothing. On day 30, you understand the fundamentals. On day 90, you can solve basic problems. On day 180, you can solve problems that most people cannot. On day 365, you possess a capability that puts you in the top 5% of the labor market in that specific domain. And here is the mathematical flip that changes everything. A replaceable worker earns $15 an hour because the market can find 10,000 identical workers by tomorrow. A specialist who could diagnose why a company is losing $400,000 a year in inefficient operations and fix it in 2 weeks commands $10,000 for the engagement. Same hours, same human body, completely different economic physics. The difference is not talent. It is not luck. It is the accumulated compound interest of those 4 evening hours that everyone else donated to streaming platforms and social media algorithms. You built a moat. And a moat is the only structure that converts time into permanent leverage. But leverage without execution is just potential energy sitting on a shelf. It is time to talk about the most psychologically difficult moment in this entire journey. The moment when the leverage finally converts into your first real capital and the system sets its most dangerous trap to take it all back. The first $1,000 you earn from your own skill and your own leverage will feel unlike any money you have ever held. It is not a paycheck. A paycheck is a receipt for time you will never get back. This is different. This is capital you generated from a capability that did not exist inside you 12 months ago. You built it in silence during those 4 hours that everyone around you was wasting. You sat in the discomfort. You endured the isolation. You studied when every cell in your body wanted to open a screen and disappear into someone else's content. And now a client or a customer has handed you money not because you showed up and followed instructions, but because you solved a problem they could not solve themselves. Warren Buffett describes this as the snowball. You need wet snow and a very long hill. The wet snow is your skill. The hill is time. And the snowball is capital that compounds only if you refuse to consume it. This is exactly where the final trap is set. The moment that first $1,000 appears in your account, a voice will wake up inside your mind. It will sound reasonable. It will sound earned. It will tell you that you have sacrificed enough, that you deserve to upgrade your life. A better phone, a nicer apartment, a dinner at a restaurant you have been walking past for months. This voice is not your ally. It is the ghost of your old operating system attempting to reinstall itself. Behavioral economists call this lifestyle creep. I call it the gravity of your former life pulling you back to the exact coordinates you fought so hard to escape. You must reject it completely, not because you do not deserve comfort, but because consuming a snowball while it is still small is the single most expensive decision you will ever make. $1,000 consumed is $1,000 gone. $1,000 reinvested into deeper skill acquisition, into better tools, into expanding your capability is $1,000 that will compound into 10,000 and then into 100,000. The math is not linear. It is exponential. But only if you protect the snowball with monastic discipline during the years when it is still fragile. You must continue to live as though you have nothing even when the account begins to grow. Same meals. Same routine. Same fortress. You are not depriving yourself. You are buying your permanent freedom one reinvested dollar at a time. And here's the philosophical truth that separates the people who escape from the people who spend their entire lives running in circles. The money is not the asset. It was never the asset. The asset is the mind you built during the process. The financial system can crash. Markets can collapse overnight. Entire industries can vanish in a single decade. If someone takes every dollar you have earned and resets your bank account to zero, you will not panic. You will not collapse because you have done this before. You know the architecture. You know how to audit the operating system. You know how to build the fortress. You know how to reclaim the 4 hours. You know how to manufacture a skill the market values. You know how to generate capital from nothing but cognitive leverage. They can take the money. They can never take the blueprint. A man who inherits a fortune is fragile because he depends on an outcome he did not engineer. A man who built his fortune from zero is anti-fragile because the process itself made him indestructible. The system wants you to believe that starting with nothing is a death sentence. It is not. Starting with nothing is the purest starting line that exists. No bad habits to unlearn. No false confidence to dismantle. No inherited map leading you in the wrong direction. Just a blank page and the cold, clean mathematics of what happens when a disciplined mind compounds against time. Zero is not your enemy. Zero is the foundation beneath every empire ever built. Stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for conditions to be perfect. Stop consuming the daily noise designed to keep you stationary. Sit down tonight in silence. Audit the operating system. Build the fortress. Protect the hours. Forge the skill, and let the snowball begin. The hill is long, and the snow is wet. That is all hard you need.